So you've been tasked with using publications that have ethnomethodology or conversation analysis as a part of them. And I've probably told you to go to the EMCA wiki to find them. One of the problems, though, that you will inevitably encounter as you come to the EMCA wiki to find these citations is that the links often don't deposit you in a place where you can easily view the material. So what I'm going to show you in this video very quickly is a couple of resources to three different ways that you can find individual citations for use in the research that you're going to be doing in this course. I cannot emphasize enough that in the field of ethnomethodology and conversation analysis, we use book chapters, and book chapters are in physical books, and you will need to go into the library to get those physical books. I want to repeat that. Book chapters are in physical books. The best work is often in the library or something that you may have to ask for on interlibrary loan. And I'm going to show you how interlibrary loan works in this video. So expect that if you're off campus, you might not have access to the best resources, thereby you might not get the best grade. I'm going to repeat that again. If you're off campus and can't go in to look at books and book chapters, and you don't pick up physical books and book chapters, you won't necessarily get the best grade. And these books are frequently not on Google Books. They are not available electronically. These are old books that we have in our holdings that you will need to access. I know you hear this from a lot of other professors, but this is especially true of ethnomethodology and CA, that we have a lot of our core books in the library. I'll give you one example of that. Studies from the first generation. So if we go to the Shegloff 2004 here that I've used the search tool in the EMCA wiki to bring up, it's going to bring up the citation for this individual book chapter. This is the Answering the Phone chapter by one of the founders of conversation analysis, Emmanuel Shegloff. In conversation analysis, studies from the first generation. So this is the book title it's giving here, and you'll see there's no link. There's no link here because this is a book chapter. This is something you need to get a physical copy of. If we would go to the library and search for the book, study using the title of the book chapter. So the title of the book chapter here in the which is what we're looking at, that's the title of the book chapter, and that's the title of the that's the title of this part here is the title of the book. This is what you need to search. If you were to search just the title of the chapter, you probably wouldn't find it in the library. So we'll go conversation analysis, studies from the first generation. Conversation analysis, studies from the first generation. And there you can see that it's listed with a call number in the library and a section to find it via the Dewey Decimal System. And you all you guys know how to navigate the Dewey Decimal System in the library. If you don't, you need to speak to a librarian to find where that book is in the holdings. But that's a great example of an individual book that has book chapters in it, that many of the chapters are important and useful citations. The At First I Thought from Gail Jefferson, investigating reported absences by Anita Pomerantz's, the discussion of turn taking by Harvey Sachs. These are all essential and important things. An initial characterization of the organization of speaker turn taking and conversation. That is relevant to absolutely every one of you. That's a first in best dressed citation to get a hold of. So I cannot recommend getting a hold of books enough. So for an example from ethnomethodology, if we were to search ethnomethodology and the human sciences, we'll come up with, let's say, Benson Hughes, 1991. Oh, it's taking a moment. Why is it not doing that? Seems the database is having some problems. Let's click on another citation. Coulter 1991A. There we go. And so again, this is a book chapter, Logic, Ethnomethodology and the Logic of Language. That's the title of the chapter. In Ethnomethodology and the Human Sciences, that's the title of the book. So let's take the title of the book and go back to search it here in the library. See what we have access to. And again, so if you go down the holdings here, you'll see that we've got the physical book available in the library that you can go and get a hard copy example of. But it'll also come up with sort of articles on the way through. You'll see these ones in academic journals here. The Ethnomethodology and the Human Sciences, this one, check for full text. Ethnomethodology in the Human Sciences. These are book reviews. Do not use book reviews for your article summaries. They do not provide sufficient detail for you to be able to competently summarize the relevant parts for what you're using the citations for. Do not use book reviews. You need to read the book chapters. That is essential. Do not use book reviews. So you're going for full holdings. All right, that's books and book chapters. We've spoken about that enough. So let's go to a sort of a generic topic, something that might come up with articles. An example that you might struggle with might be, say, the phenomenal field. And we see there three individual hits. Garfinkel and Livingston there in the title. That's a reading that I've set for, and Fele, also a reading that I've set. And here we have Avison to 2008. And having a look at this one, we see that we have a link here through the journal. So let's just see if this link works for us. So I'm doing this off campus, FYI. So what's probably going to happen is probably what you'll find if you do this off campus as well. So we comes up in the embedded window, and we go to where do we even get where's the article? Okay, so it says log in to check access by subscribe to journal. Neither of those things we want to do. So instead, let's take the title. Go back to the entry. Let's take the title. So this is the title of the paper. This is not going to help us in the library. Don't use the title of the paper. Use, just like a book, you want to use the title of the journal. So let's see if we got access to the Journal of Information Technology. Got to go back to journal lists here. Journal of Information Technology, electronic resource. Great. So we've got an access to that. And we want 2008. What have we got here? We have got access through to 2003. Good job, UNH. So if we wanted to access so it lists down the bottom here the years that we have access to. We want 2008. So there's obviously two options we've got here. We can take the title itself, Control C that, go over to our Google, and put in quotes around the edge. Well, put in quotes around the edge to make sure it's an exact search. And we come up with a number of hits here. This first Springer one is also going to ask us to pay. But these two here, the ResearchGate ones, may well be free. Let's have a look and see whether the authors have uploaded it to these sites. So it does seem that they have actually uploaded it. So ResearchGate and Academia are two places where academics might upload full papers. So that means that once you've found a paper in the EMCA wiki, if when you Google it, you find it in ResearchGate, then you've got a great access to the paper. So here is somebody, they're talking about conversation analysis, and our search said that there ought to be something about the phenomenal field in there. So I don't know whether it is or isn't. We're not going to spend time reading it now to find that, but there's a potential, and I would read it, potential place for that kind of topic. All right, let's do one more to see. Let's go sequence organization. And see what we can come up with for that. Well, this is a great paper. Hopefully it's excellent. So this citation, as it's loading here eventually, again, this is a paper, Embodied Action and Conversational Organization, Establishing Contract on the Strike of a Hammer. That is the title of the paper. We've got the title of the journal, Journal of Pragmatics right here. Again, if we click through, it's going to ask us, oh, do we want to buy this, to have a read of it? And that's obviously the case if we don't. Check access, etc., etc. We don't want to do that. If you Google this one, you'll find it's probably not been uploaded to ResearchGate. Let's see what happens when we click on this one. Yeah, so you'll see there's no, unlike this one where it says download, and you've got the full paper down the bottom here. If you go to the bottom here, you'll find that there's an abstract, and it says request. There's no download button, so the whole thing hasn't been uploaded yet. So that means you need to go to the journal, but we can do that. We can do that. So if we go to Journal of Pragmatics, take that title, go to the library website, punch the title into the library website, we'll come up with Journal of Pragmatics electronic resource. Click on that. And you can see down the bottom in the holdings, it's 1995 through present and 1997 through present. So if we click through this on online access on the left here, so you see that on the left there. It's going to ask us to log in with our UNH ID, and this is the key step that you want to do on or off campus. Once we've logged in there, you'll see at the top in the cookie, once it gets to the page at the end, it's got this proxy UNH, libproxy UNH as a part of it, And that tells us that you are logged in through the library. So you've got access to everything. But it's going to land you on the journal homepage, not necessarily at the article. So now you need to search through the article itself. Any journal page has a search field. And what you want to do is search in this journal, or make sure that this journal is selected. You're not searching through the entire publisher. Some journal functions let you search through the entire publishing house for a title. You want to search just in the journal. So let's search for this title. And just say part of this title, embodied action and organizational interaction. Probably come up with me if we search journal pragmatics like that. Embodied action and organizational interaction. And boom, there at the top, embodied action, organization and interaction, established contract on the strike of a hammer. I also got some interesting work about basketball coaching there by some keen blokes, Brent Evans with Fitzgerald. International project relinquishing musical masterclass with Darren Reed. Some interesting sort of potentially relevant other ones. But let's have a look at this one. If we go down to, where are we? Download text in PDF. So we've got the access to the web page, which is cool. Does this one have? Yeah, it's got the full size images. And the transcripts that they've done kind of funny there. But let's get the PDF so we can view this offline if you go somewhere else. Download the PDF. And here we have a paper that is reliable because we've gotten it from the EMCA website. So this is at the methodology of conversation analysis. I happen to know it's both. It is a both category thing, and something you can look at for analysis of embodied movement. So I hope that's been useful to you. A way to search for some important resources. I cannot emphasize enough the role of books and book chapters and actually going inside libraries. It really is beneficial and really will help your grades. The best stuff is in some of those older, dustier books under the under titles like ethnomethodology in the library itself. And although I wouldn't trust this one. Elaine Coulon and Jack Katz are not ethnomethodologists. And you probably recognize that one. So there's some resources to do your lit review with. I hope that's of help. If you've got any more specific questions, do feel free to drop me an email.